I got bored with my husband and called my ex to come and sleep with me. So this is how he exposed me, by installing recorders. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I cheated on my husband, and I'm the one who's going to pay for it. But let me start at the beginning, because how I got here matters, even if it doesn't excuse anything. My name's Natasha, and I work as an event curator at Galerie Moderne, a contemporary art museum in the city. It's the kind of job people envy: champagne openings, installations that cost more than most people's houses, conversations with artists who think they're changing the world. I coordinate everything from lighting to catering to making sure the right collectors show up and spend money. It's intoxicating. Chaotic. Beautiful. And then I'd come home to Ethan. Don't get me wrong, Ethan's a good man. Great, even. He's a sound designer for film and TV, works out of our converted guest bedroom that he turned into a studio. He's talented, makes solid money, never forgets an anniversary. He brings me coffee in bed on Sundays. Asks about my day. Listens when I vent about difficult artists or demanding board members. But God, he's predictable. Same morning routine. Same goodnight kiss. Same patient, understanding, quietly supportive presence. 5 years of marriage and I could set my watch by him. And somewhere around month 3 of planning our museum's summer exhibition, somewhere between the 3rd wine-soaked artist dinner and the 5th late-night install, I started feeling suffocated by all that stability. That's when I made the mistake. It was a Thursday night, after a gallery opening for an installation called Fractured Intimacy. Ironic, I know. I'd had 3 glasses of Prosecco and spent 2 hours schmoozing with collectors who kept complimenting my dress. I felt seen. Desired. Electric. I came home to find Ethan asleep on the couch, his laptop still open with audio files he'd been editing. He looked peaceful. Safe. Boring. I poured another glass of wine and scrolled through my phone. That's when I saw Nate's name in my old contacts. Nate. My ex from 6 years ago. The guy who drove a different luxury car every week because he detailed them for celebrities and borrowed them for test drives. The guy who never called when he said he would, who lived in the moment, who made me feel like I was constantly chasing something just out of reach. I told myself I was just curious. Just wondering what he was up to. I texted, "Hey stranger. Still breaking hearts?" He responded in 2 minutes, only when they asked nicely. "You volunteering?" We messaged for an hour. Then 2. He asked if I wanted to grab a drink. I said I was married now. He said he didn't ask about my relationship status, he asked if I wanted a drink. I met him that Saturday. Told Ethan I had a last-minute donor meeting. The hotel room wasn't planned, or maybe it was, and I'm just lying to myself. Either way, it happened. And it felt like everything my marriage wasn't: reckless, urgent, dangerous. I told myself it was a one-time thing. Closure. A stupid mistake I'd never make again. But I went back Wednesday. Then the following Tuesday. Ethan was working late on a project, some thriller series that needed intricate sound design. I used the guest room, the one on the opposite end of the house from his studio. Nate would text when he was outside. I'd let him in through the side door. I was careful. I deleted messages immediately. Showered the second Nate left. Kept my stories straight, blamed late gallery events, demanding artists, installation emergencies. And Ethan never questioned anything. He'd just ask if I wanted tea when I got home, or if I'd eaten. His trust made it easier. 2 months in, I felt untouchable. I had my stable marriage and my exciting secret. The best of both worlds, right? Then one night, I came home from an actual gallery event around 11. Ethan was still in his studio, but he came out when he heard the door. "Hey," he said. His voice was calm. Normal. "How was the opening?" "Exhausting. You know how it is." He nodded. Looked at me for a second longer than usual. "Yeah. I do." Something in his tone felt off. Not angry. Not hurt. Just different. "You okay?" I asked. "Fine. Just tired. This project's kicking my back." He kissed my forehead, same as always. "I'm gonna work for another hour or so. Don't wait up." He went back to his studio. And I went to bed, pushing away the weird feeling in my gut. I didn't know it then, but Ethan wasn't tired. He was getting started. The weird feeling didn't last. By the next week, I'd convinced myself I was paranoid. Ethan was just buried in work, happens every few months when he gets a demanding client. And honestly, his distance made things easier. The affair with Nate intensified. What started as hotel rooms turned into afternoon meetups at his place. He lived in one of those industrial loft conversions downtown, all exposed brick and floor-to-ceiling windows. Everything about him was surface-level flash, and I craved it. "Your husband really doesn't suspect anything?" Nate asked one afternoon, trailing his fingers down my spine. "Ethan? No. He's too focused on his projects. And he trusts me." "His mistake," Nate said, grinning. I should have felt guilty. I did, sometimes, in brief flashes when I'd come home and see Ethan's coffee mug in the sink, or his headphones draped over the couch. But then I'd remember how predictable everything was, how I felt like I was aging into furniture, and the guilt would fade. What I didn't notice, what I was too self-absorbed to see, was that Ethan had changed. He stopped asking about my day. Stopped trying to plan date nights. When I'd get home late, he wouldn't even look up from his laptop. Just a quiet hey and back to whatever he was working on. I told myself he was pulling away. Maybe even relieved I wasn't demanding attention anymore. Men get comfortable too, right? Maybe this was just what long-term marriage looked like, two people coexisting, doing their own thing. I had no idea what he was actually doing. Looking back now, I can piece it together. While I was texting Nate about when we could meet up next, Ethan was researching audio surveillance laws. While I was lying about donor meetings, he was ordering voice-activated recorders online, the kind designed to look like everyday objects. He must have installed them methodically. One in the bedroom nightstand. One tucked behind books in the guest room. Another inside the decorative smoke detector in the hallway. All synced to his phone. All voice-activated. But I didn't know any of that. I just thought my husband was emotionally checking out of our marriage, which, in my twisted logic, justified what I was doing even more. Nate started getting bolder. He'd text me during the day, "Miss you already?" Or "When's your husband's next overnight project?" Ethan did have overnight sessions sometimes. Sound mixing for films with tight deadlines meant he'd occasionally crash at the studio downtown. He'd text me around midnight, pulling an all-nighter. "Don't wait up. Love you." Those nights, Nate would come over. The first time it happened, I felt a spike of adrenaline walking him into my house, our house. But Nate just laughed, poured himself a drink from our bar, and pulled me toward the guest room. "Relax," he said. "It's not like he's hiding in the closet. We'd talk afterward. Not deep conversations, Nate wasn't that type. But we'd laugh. Make jokes. And sometimes, those jokes were about Ethan." "Does he know how hot his wife is?" Nate asked once, running his hand through my hair. "He used to notice. Now I think he just sees me as, I don't know, part of the routine. His loss." And one night, I'm not proud of this, I actually complained about Ethan's anxiety issues. He'd struggled with it for years, something he only told me about after we got engaged. It was private. Vulnerable. And I mocked it to impress a man who didn't care about me. "He's so sensitive about everything," I said, rolling my eyes. "I swear, sometimes I feel like I'm babysitting him emotionally." Nate laughed. "Sounds exhausting." I laughed too. That conversation happened in our marital bed. Ethan was supposedly working overnight. The recorder in the nightstand caught every word. But I didn't know. I just kept going, kept lying, kept thinking I was untouchable. Ethan's behavior got even quieter. He started coming home later, sometimes after I was already asleep. Stopped eating meals with me. When I'd try to initiate conversation, he'd give one-word answers. I assumed we were drifting apart naturally. Maybe headed for a quiet, mutual divorce down the line. Never occurred to me he was building a case. Then one morning, about 3 months into the affair, Ethan sat down across from me at breakfast. I was scrolling through emails, half paying attention. "Natasha?" Something in his voice made me look up. "Yeah?" He was holding his coffee mug, expression completely neutral. "Our anniversary's in a week." I'd forgotten. "Oh. Right. I made reservations. Colette's. 7 o'clock next Friday." Colette's. The French restaurant where he proposed. We hadn't been back since our wedding. "That's nice," I said, genuinely surprised. Maybe even touched. "I thought we should do something special," Ethan said. He took a sip of coffee, watching me over the rim. "Something memorable." "Okay. Yeah. I'd like that." He nodded. Set down his mug. Stood up. "Good. We're something nice." Then he left for the studio, and I sat there feeling an uncomfortable mix of guilt and confusion. Maybe we could fix this. Maybe I'd end things with Nate. Maybe this dinner was Ethan trying to reconnect. I had no idea I was walking into an execution. The week leading up to the anniversary felt strange. I couldn't shake this growing sense of unease. Ethan was being too normal, pleasant, even. He'd ask if I needed anything from the store. Refilled my wine glass at dinner without being asked. Small gestures, the kind he used to do all the time. It felt like a trap, but I couldn't figure out what kind. I met Nate twice that week. Once at his place, once at the usual hotel. But something felt off about it now. The thrill was fading, replaced by this gnawing anxiety I couldn't name. "You seem distracted," Nate said, pulling on his jeans. "Just work stress." Right. He didn't push. That was Nate, no depth, no real curiosity. I was finally starting to see it. 2 nights before the anniversary, Ethan texted me around 9, working late at the downtown studio. "Won't be home until morning. Sorry." I stared at the message. Then I did the worst thing I'd done yet. I invited Nate to the house. To our bedroom. The marital bed. He showed up with a bottle of wine and that cocky grin. "Dangerous," he said, looking around. "I like it." We drank. We laughed. And we ended up in the bedroom, in Ethan's and my bed, with the door wide open like we owned the place. Afterward, Nate stretched out against the pillows. "Does your husband even satisfy you? Or is he one of those guys who finishes and rolls over?" I laughed. God, I actually laughed. Ethan's not bad. He's just boring. Predictable. Everything's always so careful with him. Sounds exhausting. It is. And he's so in his head all the time. Always worrying about something. I swear, his anxiety makes everything a production. Nate snorted. "You're basically his therapist." Feels like it sometimes. We kept going. Mocking his routines. His quirks. The way he organized his studio cables by color. How he needed everything planned out in advance. I didn't think about how cruel it was. I was too busy performing for someone who didn't actually care about me. The recorder in the nightstand captured everything. I found out later that Ethan listened to that recording in his car, parked outside the downtown studio he'd never actually gone to that night. He sat there for an hour, just listening. Then he drove to his lawyer's office first thing the next morning. But I didn't know any of that. I woke up the next day, alone. Nate had left before dawn, and felt nothing but emptiness. The day of the anniversary, I actually put in effort. I got my hair done. Wore the black dress Ethan bought me 2 Christmases ago, the one he said made me look stunning. Did my makeup carefully. I looked good. Maybe this dinner would remind us of why we got married. Maybe I could fix this before everything fell apart. I met Ethan at the restaurant. He'd gone straight from the studio. When I walked in, he was already seated. He stood when he saw me, and for a second, he just looked at me. "You look beautiful," he said. "Thanks. You too. I mean, you look good." He'd worn a suit. Ethan rarely wore suits. The table was in the center of the restaurant. I noticed that immediately. Ethan always preferred corner booths, quiet and tucked away. This was exposed. Visible. "Different spot," I said as I sat down. "Wanted to try something new," he said smoothly. A waiter poured champagne. Ethan ordered our old favorites, the duck confit I loved, the wine we drank the night he proposed. Everything was perfect. Almost too perfect. "To 5 years," Ethan said, raising his glass. "To 5 years," I echoed. We drank. Made small talk. He asked about the museum's upcoming installation. I asked about his project. It was the most normal conversation we'd had in months. I started to relax. Maybe I'd been paranoid. Maybe this was just Ethan being thoughtful, trying to reconnect. Halfway through dinner, he excused himself. "Be right back." He disappeared toward the back of the restaurant. I sipped my wine, looking around at the other couples. A few were celebrating too, anniversaries, proposals, birthdays. Everyone looked happy. Ethan returned a minute later, carrying something small. A velvet jewelry box. My heart jumped. "Ethan, you didn't have 2. "I wanted 2, he said, setting it on the table between us. "Go ahead. Open it." My hands were shaking slightly as I picked it up. This was it. Maybe a necklace. Maybe earrings. Maybe this was his way of saying he wanted to fight for us. I opened the box. Inside, nestled on black velvet, was a flash drive. Small. Silver. With a white label across it in Ethan's neat handwriting. For the divorce hearing. My blood turned to ice. I stared at the flash drive like it might bite me. Ethan, what? He stood up. Slowly. Deliberately. He picked up his champagne glass and raised it, looking not at me, but at the room around us. His voice was calm. Clear. Loud enough to carry. To loyalty, he said. Something I used to believe in. A few nearby tables glanced over, curious. Ethan, sit down, I hissed. What are you doing? He ignored me. Kept his glass raised. To my wife, Natasha. Who's been sleeping with her ex-boyfriend in our home for the past 3 months. The words hit like a physical blow. Someone gasped. A fork clattered against a plate. To the guest bedroom. The marital bed. Even the couch once, I think. His voice never wavered. Hope Nate enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed listening. Stop, I whispered. My face was burning. People were staring now. Ethan, please. Oh, I'm just getting started. He set down his glass. That's when I noticed the waiters. 3 of them, moving through the restaurant with tablets in their hands, approaching different tables. What did you do? My voice cracked. I gave them something to listen to during dinner. Seemed only fair, you gave me the same experience at home. The first tablet reached an older couple 2 tables over. The waiter tapped the screen. And then I heard it. My voice. Moaning. The woman at the table's eyes went wide. Her husband's jaw dropped. Oh my God, someone else said. Another tablet reached a table behind me. More audio. This time it was Nate's voice. Does your husband even satisfy you? And my response, laughing, Ethan's just boring. Predictable. The room was filling with my betrayal. Different moments. Different recordings. Tablets at every other table, playing snippets of my affair for the entire restaurant to hear. I tried to stand. My legs wouldn't work. Ethan, stop this. Please. I'm sorry. Sorry? He looked at me then. Really looked at me. His eyes were empty. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. A woman at the bar actually applauded. Just once. Slow, deliberate. You're insane, I managed. No. I'm thorough. He pulled out his phone, tapped something. I'm a sound designer, Natasha. I work with audio every single day. You really thought I wouldn't notice you coming home at different times, sounding different, acting different? More tablets circulating. More gasps. A man near the window stood up and walked out with his date, shooting me a disgusted look. Then the worst one played. A tablet at the table directly next to us. The waiter set it down, volume up. My voice, he's so sensitive about everything. I swear, sometimes I feel like I'm babysitting him emotionally. Nate, sounds exhausting. Me again, it is. His anxiety makes everything a production. God forbid something doesn't go exactly as planned. Both of us laughing. The restaurant went dead silent. Ethan's jaw tightened. That was the only crack in his composure. That one's my favorite, he said quietly. The night you mocked my mental health, something I trusted you with, while sleeping with another man in our bed. Real classy, Natasha. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The humiliation was suffocating. I didn't mean. You meant every word. He picked up his napkin, folded it neatly, placed it on the table. The prenup we signed? The one you barely read because you were so excited about the wedding? It has an infidelity clause. You get nothing. The house is mine. The car is mine. The savings are mine. You can't. I already did. My lawyer filed this morning. You'll be served tomorrow. He reached into his jacket, pulled out $100 bill, and placed it on the table. For the staff. They've been very helpful tonight. He started to walk away. I grabbed his arm. Ethan, wait. We can fix this. I'll end it with Nate. I'll do anything. He pulled his arm free. Looked at me like I was a stranger. You want to fix this? He leaned in close. There's nothing left to fix. You destroyed it. And I documented every second of the autopsy. Then he walked out. Just left me there, sitting alone at a table in the middle of a restaurant full of people who'd just heard me destroy my own marriage. The audio kept playing from various tablets. My voice. My betrayal. Over and over. A woman at the bar whispered to her friend, "She's the curator at Galerie Moderne. I've seen her at openings." My professional life flashed before my eyes. I stood up, too fast. Knocked over my wine glass. Red liquid spreading across the white tablecloth like blood. I ran. Out of the restaurant, into the cold night air, my heels clicking on pavement. I made it halfway down the block before my phone started buzzing. Once. Twice. 10 times. I pulled it out with shaking hands. Text after text. All from colleagues. Museum board members. Artists I worked with. All containing the same thing, screenshots. Audio clips. Videos someone had taken of the tablets in the restaurant. One message from a curator I'd worked with for years, "Natasha, what the F? This is all over social media." Another from a board member, "We need to talk. Tomorrow. 9 a.m. I opened Instagram. Searched my own name. 3 different accounts had already posted about it. Hashtags. Commentary. Strangers weighing in. The art curator caught cheating, full audio receipts. My entire career was imploding in real time. And I realized, standing there on the sidewalk in my anniversary dress, this wasn't just about the divorce. Ethan had destroyed everything. I called Nate 17 times that night. He didn't answer once. I texted, "Nate, please pick up. Everything's falling apart. I need you." Nothing. "Nate, this isn't funny. Call me back." Read. No response. By the 3rd hour of radio silence, I drove to his loft. Pounded on the door until a neighbor threatened to call the cops. He wasn't there. Or he was hiding. Either way, the message was clear. I drove home, except it wasn't my home anymore, was it? I sat in the driveway for 20 minutes, staring at the dark windows. Ethan's car wasn't there. The house felt like enemy territory. I slept in my car that night. Woke up to 43 new notifications. The board meeting was worse than I imagined. I showed up at Galerie Moderne at 9, eyes swollen, wearing yesterday's dress under a coat. The receptionist wouldn't look at me. Amelia, my boss, the gallery owner, was waiting in the conference room. Alone. "Sit down, Natasha." I sat. She slid a tablet across the table. Paused on a social media post. My face. Audio clips. Comments in the hundreds. "This is a problem," she said simply. "Amelia, I can explain." "You don't need to explain. I heard the recordings. Everyone heard the recordings." She leaned back. "The board met this morning. Emergency session. We have donors pulling funding. Artists requesting different liaisons. Our reputation is tied to the people who represent us. So what are you saying?" "Administrative leave. Effective immediately. Paid, for now. But Natasha." She paused. "I don't think you're coming back." I felt the room tilt. "You're firing me?" "I'm protecting the museum. What you do in your personal life is your business. But when it goes viral, when board members are getting calls from donors asking why we employ someone with moral character issues, that's institutional. That's BS. That's reality." She stood. "Clean out your desk. Security will escort you." And they did. Walked me out like a criminal while people I'd worked with for years pretended not to see me. I moved back to my parents' house that same day. My mother opened the door, took one look at me, and just sighed. "We saw the posts. I don't want to talk about it." "Too bad. You're 34 years old, Natasha. What were you thinking?" I wasn't. That was the problem. My childhood bedroom hadn't changed. Same purple walls. Same desk. I sat on the twin bed and stared at the ceiling while my father made passive-aggressive comments from downstairs about consequences and responsibility. 2 days later, Ethan's lawyer sent the official divorce papers. Everything was spelled out in brutal detail. The prenup's infidelity clause forfeited my claim to joint assets. The house, gone. The car, gone. Our shared savings, gone. Even our dog, Murphy, stayed with Ethan because technically he'd been the one to adopt him before we married. I signed with shaking hands because fighting it was pointless. The evidence was ironclad. But Ethan wasn't done. A week later, I got served again. A separate lawsuit. Emotional distress and defamation. The complaint cited specific recordings where I'd mocked his anxiety, his personal struggles, his vulnerabilities. His lawyer argued that I'd intentionally caused psychological harm and damaged his reputation during a vulnerable disclosure of mental health challenges. My lawyer, the one I could barely afford, was blunt: settle. You'll lose if this goes to trial. The recordings are damning. How much? He's asking for $75,000. I didn't have $75,000. I didn't have $7,000. We settled for $50,000, paid out over 5 years. Garnished from whatever income I could scrape together. I took a job doing administrative work at a law firm. Filing. Copying. Answering phones. $12 an hour. The receptionist recognized me from the posts, I could tell. She never said anything, just gave me pitying looks. Former friends stopped responding to texts. Invitations to gallery events dried up. People I'd known for years crossed the street to avoid me. Nate, I learned through mutual contacts, had moved to another city. A friend of a friend mentioned he was already seeing someone new, some influencer with 500,000 followers. He'd ghosted me completely. Blocked my number. Erased me like I'd never existed. And Ethan? Radio silence. Everything went through his lawyer. He never called. Never texted. It was like I'd died. I started checking his social media obsessively. He'd unblocked me, which somehow felt worse, like he wanted me to see what I'd lost. 3 weeks after the restaurant incident, he posted for the first time in months. A photo at a gallery opening. He was smiling, genuinely smiling, the kind of smile I hadn't seen in over a year. He looked good. Rested. Happy. He was wearing a suit. Standing next to someone. I zoomed in. My heart stopped. Amelia. My former boss. The woman who fired me. Her hand was on his arm. They were both holding champagne glasses. The caption, celebrating new beginnings. The comments were full of support. People congratulating him. Telling him he deserved happiness. I scrolled through his previous posts. Found another from a week earlier. Same gallery, different event. Amelia again. Then another. A coffee shop photo. Amelia across the table, laughing. I clicked on Amelia's profile. She'd posted too. A photo of Ethan's hands adjusting a microphone during some kind of sound installation at her gallery. Caption, grateful for brilliant collaborators. Heart emoji. They weren't hiding it. They were together. And suddenly, everything made a sickening kind of sense. I spent 3 hours that night going through everything. Amelia's gallery had commissioned Ethan for a documentary project 8 months ago. I remembered because she'd mentioned it in passing at a staff meeting. Something about needing ambient sound design for an experimental film piece. 8 months. That was a month before my affair with Nate even started. They'd been working together. Meeting for creative consultations. Building a professional relationship that apparently turned into something more. I scrolled back further through Ethan's posts. Found one from 6 months ago, right around when I first texted Nate. Ethan at Amelia's gallery, installing speakers for some immersive audio exhibit. The comments included one from Amelia, couldn't have done this without you. Brilliant work. My hands were shaking. She knew. Amelia knew about the affair before she fired me. Ethan must have confided in her while he was gathering evidence. Maybe even asked for advice. And then she fired me, knowing exactly what her gallery board would say. Knowing I'd have nowhere to go. Knowing she was about to start dating my soon-to-be ex-husband. The professional humiliation doubled, tripled. She wasn't just my former boss. She was thriving in my industry, with my husband, in the circles I used to navigate. I kept scrolling. More photos emerged over the following weeks. Ethan and Amelia at a museum fundraiser. At a film premiere. A weekend trip to the coast, beautiful sunset photo, both of them windswept and grinning. He looked like a different person. Lighter. Younger, even. The comments were unanimously supportive. People who knew what happened were cheering him on. You deserve this, man. She's gorgeous, congrats. Upgrade of the century. I wanted to throw my phone through the wall. The divorce finalized 2 months after the restaurant incident. I got the official paperwork on a Tuesday. Signed. Sealed. Stamped by a judge who probably read every detail of my infidelity in the court documents. Natasha Reynolds was now Natasha Brennan again. Back to my maiden name. Back to my childhood bedroom. Back to nothing. The emotional distress lawsuit settled a week later. $50,000, paid in monthly installments of $833 for 5 years. My administrative job barely covered it plus rent for the studio apartment I was trying to save up for. I saw Nate one more time, completely by accident. I was getting coffee near his old neighborhood. He walked in with a woman, blonde, tall, expensive looking. She was laughing at something he said, her hand on his chest. He saw me. Our eyes met for maybe 2 seconds. Then he looked away. Ordered his coffee. Left without acknowledging my existence. I sat there with my lukewarm latte and realized, I never mattered to him. I was just convenient. Available. Married, which made it exciting. He never loved me. Never even liked me much. I destroyed my marriage for someone who didn't give a crap. Meanwhile, Ethan's life was a highlight reel. New posts every week. Gallery openings with Amelia. Industry events. A photo of them with Murphy, my dog, curled up between them on a couch. Caption, family. He'd moved on completely. Found someone who actually shared his interests, his world. Someone cultured and successful and, judging by her social media, kind. The comments on her posts about Ethan were warm. Genuine. He's so talented. You two are perfect together. Love seeing you this happy, Amelia. She posted a photo from a vacation they took. Some Greek island. Azure water. White buildings. Ethan behind the camera, his shadow visible in the frame. Her caption, Santorini with my favorite person. They looked happy. Genuinely, legitimately happy. And I was living with my parents at 34, working an entry-level job, paying off a lawsuit for mocking my ex-husband's mental health while cheating on him. I opened my old photo albums one night. Pictures of Ethan and me from the early years. His arm around me at our wedding. Laughing at some restaurant. A trip we took to wine country. He looked at me in those photos the way he now looks at Amelia. I'd had that. I'd had someone who loved me completely, who trusted me, who would have done anything for me. And I threw it away because I was bored. I deleted the album. All of it. There's no going back. No fixing this. No redemption arc. Ethan won. Completely and utterly. He outplayed me, exposed me, took everything, and moved on to a better life. And me? I'm the villain in someone else's triumph story. Update, if anyone's still reading this train wreck. It's been 6 months since the restaurant. I'm still paying off the lawsuit. Still working the admin job. Still living in a crappy apartment with walls so thin I can hear my neighbor's TV. I saw an announcement last week that Amelia's gallery is expanding. Ethan's doing the sound design for the entire new wing. They're engaged now, she posted the ring 2 months ago. I'm not invited to gallery events anymore. My name doesn't come up in industry circles. I've been erased. Nate? No idea. Don't care anymore. So yeah. That's my story. I screwed up. I got bored and selfish and stupid, and I destroyed the only person who actually gave a damn about me. Ethan didn't just leave me. He dismantled my entire life, piece by piece, with the same methodical precision he uses for his work. And honestly, I deserve this. Every single consequence. If you're reading this and thinking about cheating, don't. The thrill isn't worth losing someone who actually loved you. It's not worth becoming the villain. Trust me. I know. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.